Your mind is the most powerful tool you possess. It can be your greatest asset or your worst enemy. The way you think determines the way you live. But there is a hidden trap that keeps millions of people stuck, preventing them from ever moving forward, from ever achieving their goals, from ever experiencing true peace of mind. Overthinking. Overthinking is a silent killer. It disguises itself as intelligence, as careful planning, as a rational way of navigating the world. It convinces you that you are just being cautious, that you are simply considering all the possibilities, that you are avoiding mistakes. But in reality, it is nothing more than an endless cycle of hesitation, doubt, and fear. It is the reason so many people never take action. It is the reason they stay trapped in their comfort zones, constantly waiting for the right time to start, constantly second, guessing their own decisions, constantly replaying past failures in their minds. You have felt this before. You have had moments where you wanted to take a step forward, where you wanted to make a decision, where you wanted to start something new, but instead you hesitated. You started thinking. You started analyzing every possible outcome, every possible risk, every potential failure. And the longer you thought about it, the harder it became to take action. You created problems in your mind that did not even exist yet. You imagined worst-case scenarios that would likely never happen. You convinced yourself that you needed more time, more information, more certainty before you could move. And so, you did nothing. This is what overthinking does. It does not protect you. It does not make you smarter. It does not prepare you for success. It paralyzes you. It traps you inside your own mind. It keeps you stuck in a cycle of endless questions with no answers, endless doubts with no solutions, endless fears that never come true. And the more you think, the worse it gets. The truth is simple. There is no perfect time. There is no perfect decision. There is no way to avoid risk completely. Life will never give you 100% certainty before you take action. If you wait for absolute clarity, you will wait forever. If you hesitate every time you are faced with a choice, you will never move. The weak man allows overthinking to control him. He spends his days trapped in indecision, analyzing every detail, looking for guarantees that do not exist. He is always planning but never executing, always preparing but never starting, always waiting for the right moment that never comes. And as time passes, he watches others move forward while he remains stuck in the same place, wondering why nothing ever changes. The unbreakable man understands that action is the cure. He does not allow his mind to control him. He controls his mind. He knows that thinking has its place, but that overthinking is just fear in disguise. He does not waste time worrying about things he cannot control. He does not let hesitation stop him from taking the first step. He moves forward with confidence, knowing that mistakes and failures are part of the journey. So I let it go. The people who overthink the most are often the ones who achieve the least. They believe they are being careful, but in reality, they are being passive. They think they are making smart decisions, but in reality, they are avoiding decisions altogether. They tell themselves they are waiting for the right time, but in reality, they are just afraid. Fear is what drives overthinking. Fear of making the wrong choice. Fear of failing. Fear of being judged. Fear of stepping into the unknown. But the only real failure is never trying. The only real mistake is staying in the same place while time moves forward without you. The only real regret is looking back on your life and realizing you wasted years thinking instead of doing. If you want to break free from the prison of overthinking, you must make a decision. A decision to take action despite the doubt, despite the fear, despite the uncertainty. You must train your mind to stop searching for problems and start searching for solutions. You must remind yourself that thinking will never replace doing, that no amount of planning will ever substitute for action, that no amount of certainty will ever be enough to eliminate risk completely. Weak men hesitate. Strong men move. Most people will spend their entire lives waiting for the perfect opportunity, waiting for the fear to disappear, waiting for some sign that tells them it is safe to move forward. But that day will never come. There will always be doubts. There will always be risks. There will always be reasons to wait. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail is simple. Those who succeed take action despite the uncertainty. They understand that the only way to find out if something will work is to do it, so I let it go. They do not waste time debating every possibility in their heads. They make a decision, they commit to it, and they adapt as they go. Every moment you spend overthinking is a moment you could have spent building. Every second you spend hesitating is a second you could have spent taking a step forward. Every hour you spend doubting yourself is an hour you could have spent proving yourself right. The only way to silence overthinking is to act. The only way to stop the cycle of hesitation is to move. The only way to eliminate doubt is to prove to yourself that you are capable. There will never be a perfect time. There will never be a perfect plan. There will never be absolute certainty, but there is now. And now is always the right time. Overthinking is destroying your life. It is time to stop thinking and start doing. Overthinking is the art of creating problems that don't exist. It is the habit of taking a simple decision and turning it into an overwhelming mental battle. It is the reason you stay stuck in the same place, making no progress while others move forward. Overthinking does not protect you. It destroys you. It drains your energy, steals your time, and weakens your ability to take action. At its core, overthinking is fear. Fear of making the wrong decision, fear of failure, fear of what others will think. It disguises itself as logic, as caution, as preparation, but make no mistake. It is fear in its purest form. The more you overthink, the more power you give to that fear. The more you hesitate, the stronger your doubts become. And before you realize it, you are living inside your own mind, paralyzed by thoughts that do nothing but hold you back. The weak man allows this to consume him. He plays out endless scenarios in his head, trying to predict every possible outcome, every possible mistake, every possible consequence. He tells himself he is being responsible, that he is making sure he does not fail. But in reality, he is just avoiding the discomfort of action. He is choosing mental stress over real world movement. He is choosing to stay safe inside his head instead of stepping into the uncertainty of the real world. The unbreakable man does not fall into this trap. He understands that no amount of thinking will ever replace doing. He knows that no matter how much he prepares, there will always be unknowns. He does not waste time trying to predict the future. He creates it through action. He does not waste energy overanalyzing every step. He moves forward and adjusts as he goes. Most people will never understand this. They believe that thinking more will make them smarter, that waiting longer will make them more prepared, that planning endlessly will protect them from failure. But in reality, they are just delaying the inevitable. I let it go. They are just avoiding the fact that at some point, they will have to make a move. And the longer they wait, the harder it becomes. Overthinking leads to inaction. Inaction leads to regret. And regret is the most painful thing a man can carry. So I let it go. How many times have you looked back and wished you had started sooner? How many times have you realized that the time you spent worrying, analyzing, hesitating, could have been spent building, learning, growing? How many opportunities have passed you by because you were too busy thinking instead of doing? Weak men let those opportunities slip through their fingers. They tell themselves that they need more time, that they will start when they feel ready, that they will take action once the fear goes away. But the fear never goes away. The hesitation never disappears. The longer you overthink, the more trapped you become. The unbreakable man refuses to live this way. He understands that he will never feel 100% ready, that he will never have all the answers before he begins, that there will always be risk, always be uncertainty, always be fear. But he also understands that success belongs to those who take action despite those things. He moves forward without overanalyzing. He makes decisions without drowning in hesitation. He understands that failure is not the enemy. Inaction is. Most men spend their lives in a loop of overthinking. They replay past mistakes over and over in their minds. They relive moments of embarrassment, of failure, of regret. They obsess over the things they should have done differently, as if dwelling on them will change the past. But it never does. All it does is steal the present. Others spend their days worrying about the future. They imagine every worst-case scenario. They convince themselves that things will go wrong, that they will fail, that they will embarrass themselves. And in doing so, they rob themselves of the courage to take action. They become prisoners of a future that has not even happened yet. Both of these traps, dwelling on the past and fearing the future, are symptoms of the same disease, overthinking. And there is only one cure: action. Nothing silences an overactive mind faster than movement. Nothing destroys fear faster than facing it. Nothing builds confidence faster than doing the thing you were afraid to do. Weak men wait for their thoughts to change before they act. They wait to feel ready before they begin. They wait for the perfect conditions before they take a step forward. And because of this, they remain stuck forever. The unbreakable man acts before he feels ready. He moves before the fear disappears. He understands that waiting for perfect conditions is the fastest way to ensure they never come. Your mind will always look for excuses. It will always try to convince you that you need more time, more information, more certainty. But deep down, you already know what you need to do. You already know the next step. You do not need more thinking. You need more doing. How many more days will you waste inside your head? How many more opportunities will you let pass by while you hesitate? How many more times will you let fear make your decisions for you? Every moment you spend overthinking is a moment you could have spent executing. Every second you spend doubting yourself is a second you could have spent proving yourself right. Every hour you spend trapped in hesitation is an hour you could have spent moving forward. There is no perfect time. There is no perfect plan. There is only now. And now is always the right time to begin. Overthinking is destroying your life. It is time to stop thinking and start moving. Overthinking is a slow poison. It does not destroy you all at once. It chips away at you piece by piece, day by day, thought by thought, until one morning you wake up and realize years have passed, and you are still standing in the same place. It steals your time, your confidence, your ability to take risks, and worst of all, it convinces you that doing nothing is better than making a mistake. But the truth is, inaction is the greatest mistake of all. Most men who overthink believe they are being smart. They convince themselves that if they wait long enough, they will eventually come up with the perfect plan. So I let it go. They tell themselves they are being careful, that they are avoiding failure, that they are making sure they do not take the wrong step. But what they do not realize is that their hesitation is already failure. Their refusal to act is already a mistake. The longer they wait, the more difficult it becomes to start. The more they analyze, the more fear takes control. The weak man does not see this. He believes that overthinking is a form of protection, that by considering every possible scenario, he is preparing himself. He tells himself he is not avoiding action. He is simply waiting for the right moment. But the right moment never comes. He spends his life waiting for a feeling of certainty that never arrives. He tells himself he will start one day, but one day always turns into never. The unbreakable man understands the trap of overthinking. He knows that hesitation is the enemy of success. He does not wait for the perfect moment. He creates it through action. He does not waste energy debating what could go wrong. He focuses on what he can make go right. He does not allow fear to paralyze him. He uses it as fuel to move forward. Overthinking is a disease, and it spreads quickly. The more you entertain your doubts, the stronger they become. The more you replay scenarios in your head, the more difficult it becomes to take the first step. And the longer you hesitate, the more regret you accumulate. Think back to a time when you wanted to do something, but you let overthinking stop you. Maybe it was a business idea, a career move, an opportunity to improve yourself, or even just a simple decision you kept delaying. How much time did you waste? How many days did you spend trapped inside your mind, going back and forth, looking for an answer that never came? And in the end, what happened? Nothing. That is what overthinking gives you. Nothing. No progress, no growth, no experience, no results. Just time wasted and potential lost. The weak man never learns this lesson. He continues to hesitate, to analyze, to wait. He convinces himself that his caution is wisdom, that his fear is intelligence, that his inaction is strategic. He does not realize that the real thinkers, the real planners, the real winners are those who take action and adjust as they go. The unbreakable man does not need certainty to begin. He does not wait until he has all the answers before he moves. Oh, he understands that most of the learning, most of the clarity, most of the progress comes from action, not thought. Every time you hesitate, Every time you allow overthinking to take control, you are reinforcing the habit of inaction. You are training yourself to wait instead of act, to think instead of do, to watch instead of move. And the more you do this, the harder it becomes to break free. This is why most men never achieve anything great. Not because they lack intelligence, not because they lack ability, not because they are not capable, but because they refuse to take action. Overthinking convinces you that you are doing something when in reality you are doing nothing. You are running on a mental treadmill, moving constantly but going nowhere. You are stuck in a loop of hesitation, where every thought leads to another, every question creates more doubt, every decision seems too risky. And before you know it, years have passed. The unbreakable man refuses to let this happen. He does not waste time debating whether or not he is ready. He does not allow fear to make his decisions for him. He understands that life rewards those who take risks, those who move forward despite uncertainty, those who are willing to act while others hesitate. If you are trapped in overthinking, you must break the cycle now. Because every day you waste in hesitation is a day you will never get back. Every opportunity you delay is an opportunity someone else is taking. Every decision you avoid is a decision being made for you by the passage of time. Do not let this be your story. Do not let your life become a series of wasted chances, lost time, and unrealized potential. The only way out is action. Start before you feel ready. Move before you have all the answers. Take the first step before fear convinces you to stand still. Because the truth is, you already know what you need to do. You just have to stop thinking and start doing. Overthinking is the enemy of progress. It turns opportunities into obstacles, confidence into doubt, and action into hesitation. It convinces you that you are making smart decisions when, in reality, you are doing nothing. It keeps you trapped in a loop of endless analysis, where every thought leads to another question, every question leads to another doubt, and every doubt leads to more hesitation. The weak man lives in this cycle for years. He convinces himself that he is just being careful, that he is waiting for the right moment, that he is preparing himself for success. But all he is really doing is wasting time. He tells himself that he is making progress, but progress only happens through action. No amount of thinking will ever replace doing. No amount of analyzing will ever move you forward. No amount of waiting will ever create the perfect moment. The unbreakable man understands this. He knows that overthinking is nothing more than fear in disguise. He does not waste time drowning in endless scenarios. He does not allow himself to become a prisoner of his own thoughts. He moves, he acts, he decides, and if he makes a mistake, he adjusts. He does not wait for the perfect plan. He creates one as he goes. Most people will never understand this. They will spend their entire lives waiting for certainty, waiting for a guarantee, waiting for a moment where they feel completely prepared. But that moment never comes. The truth is, you will never feel 100% ready. You will never have absolute certainty. You will never know exactly what is going to happen. And if you let that stop you, you will never move. Overthinking is the reason so many men stay stuck in jobs they hate, in relationships that do not fulfill them. So I let it go. In lives that are far below what they are capable of. They tell themselves that they are waiting for the right time to make a change, so I let it go. But what they are really doing is avoiding the discomfort of action. They convince themselves that they need more time, more information, more reassurance. But all they are doing is making excuses. The weak man is controlled by his mind. Every decision he tries to make turns into an endless debate inside his head. He thinks about what could go wrong, about what people might say, about all the reasons he should not take action. He overanalyzes every detail, to the point where he convinces himself that taking action is more dangerous than doing nothing. And so, he remains exactly where he is, stuck, frustrated, unfulfilled. The unbreakable man controls his mind. He does not allow himself to drown in unnecessary thoughts. He does not waste energy on questions that do not matter. He understands that overthinking is a choice, and he chooses to focus his energy on action. The weak man is afraid of failure, so he overthinks every decision in an attempt to avoid making mistakes. But in reality, overthinking is the biggest mistake of all, because while he is busy analyzing every possible risk, the unbreakable man is out in the world taking action, learning from his experiences and improving every day. The weak man waits for motivation to take action. He tells himself that he will start when he feels ready, when the conditions are perfect, when the fear disappears. But that moment never comes. He does not realize that motivation follows action, not the other way around. He does not understand that the only way to gain confidence is to take action despite the fear. The unbreakable man acts first. He does not wait for motivation. He does not wait for permission. He does not wait for fear to disappear. He moves forward despite uncertainty, and in doing so, he builds the confidence that others spend their entire lives waiting for. Most men spend their lives inside their own heads. They replay past mistakes over and over, as if thinking about them will change what happened. They relive embarrassing moments, convincing themselves that other people still remember them when, in reality, nobody cares. They obsess over every possible outcome, so I let it go, creating problems in their minds that do not even exist yet. And while they are trapped in this endless loop of self, doubt and hesitation, life moves on without them. Time does not stop for overthinkers. The world does not wait for them to feel ready. Opportunities do not pause while they try to find the perfect plan. The unbreakable man understands this, and he refuses to waste his life in hesitation. He refuses to let his own mind become his prison. He refuses to let fear control his decisions. Every second you spend overthinking is a second you could have spent building, growing, and moving forward. Every minute you waste hesitating is a minute you will never get back. Every hour spent doubting yourself is an hour you could have spent proving yourself right. The only way to escape the trap of overthinking is to take action, to do something, to move forward. Even if it is not perfect, even if you make mistakes, even if you do not feel ready, because action is what destroys doubt. Action is what silences fear. Action is what builds confidence. There is no perfect plan. There is no perfect time. There is only now, and now is always the right time to begin. Overthinking is destroying your life. It is time to stop thinking and start moving. Overthinking is a slow form of self-destruction. It keeps you trapped in a mental maze, analyzing every possibility, replaying past mistakes, fearing the unknown, and second, guessing your own decisions. It convinces you that you are being smart, cautious, and responsible. But in reality, you are doing nothing. The longer you stay stuck in your thoughts, the more difficult it becomes to take action, and the more you hesitate, the more life passes you by. Weak men allow overthinking to control them. They let their doubts overpower their ambitions. They analyze every detail, trying to predict every outcome, attempting to eliminate all risk. They tell themselves they are waiting for the perfect moment, for the right opportunity, for the fear to disappear. But what they do not realize is that the only thing they are doing is wasting time. The perfect moment does not exist. The fear will never go away, and waiting will never lead to progress. The unbreakable man knows this. He understands that overthinking is just another form of fear. It is the mind's way of avoiding discomfort, of postponing action, of making excuses. But he refuses to let it control him. He does not wait until he feels ready. He takes action despite the uncertainty. He does not spend his time debating what might happen. He makes things happen. He does not allow fear to dictate his choices. He moves forward and figures things out along the way. Most people do not understand how destructive overthinking truly is. They believe that thinking more means they are being smart, that if they analyze every possibility, they will be more prepared. But the truth is, overthinking does not lead to better decisions. It leads to no decisions. It keeps you trapped in hesitation, paralyzed by self-doubt, constantly questioning your abilities instead of trusting yourself to take the first step. Overthinking makes you weaker. It drains your confidence. It steals your ability to take risks. It convinces you that failure is something to be avoided, rather than something to be learned from. It makes every problem seem bigger than it is, every decision feel more complicated than it needs to be, and every step forward feel impossible. It stops you from living. How many times have you wanted to do something, but let overthinking hold you back? How many opportunities have you let slip away because you spent too much time inside your head? How many moments have you missed because you were too busy worrying about what might go wrong? How many times have you looked back and realized the only thing standing between you and success was your own hesitation? Weak men live with this regret for their entire lives. They spend their days stuck in the past, obsessing over things they cannot change. They waste their time worrying about the future, paralyzed by problems that do not even exist yet. And in doing so, they miss the only moment that actually matters, the present. The unbreakable man refuses to live this way. He understands that the past is gone and cannot be changed, that the future is unknown and cannot be controlled, and the only thing he has power over is what he does right now. So instead of wasting time in thought, he takes action. He moves forward. He makes decisions. He embraces risk. And he trusts himself to handle whatever comes next. Overthinking is a disease. And the only cure is action. The only way to silence your doubts is to prove them wrong through movement. The only way to build confidence is to step into the unknown and learn through experience. The only way to stop living inside your head is to start living in the real world. Most men will never do this. They will continue waiting, hesitating, questioning. They will continue convincing themselves that they are being logical when, in reality, they are just afraid. They will continue looking for signs, for validation, for the perfect circumstances that will never come. And because of this, they will never move forward. The unbreakable man refuses to be one of them. He does not let his mind control him. He controls his mind. He does not allow his thoughts to dictate his actions. He dictates his own path. He understands that no amount of thinking will ever be enough to eliminate fear, and that the only way to defeat fear is to face it. If you want to escape the trap of overthinking, you must make a choice. A choice to stop waiting. A choice to stop hesitating. A choice to stop replaying the past and fearing the future. A choice to stop letting your thoughts hold you back from action. Because every second you spend overthinking is a second you could have spent taking a step forward. Every minute you waste in hesitation is a minute you will never get back. Every hour spent doubting yourself is an hour that could have been used to build your future. The men who succeed are not the ones who never have doubts. They are the ones who take action despite them. The men who win are not the ones who have perfect plans. They are the ones who move forward and adjust along the way. The men who build great things are not the ones who think the most. They are the ones who do the most. There is no perfect decision. There is no perfect moment. There is only now. Overthinking is destroying your life. It is time to stop thinking and start moving. Overthinking is a battle that takes place in your own mind. It is a war against yourself, where you become both the enemy and the victim. It convinces you that you are making progress when, in reality, you are standing still. It fills your mind with doubt, hesitation, and fear. It turns small decisions into overwhelming burdens, simple choices into impossible dilemmas, and opportunities into regrets before you even take the first step. Overthinking does not make you stronger. It weakens you. It does not make you wiser. It keeps you stuck. It does not prepare you. It prevents you from ever moving forward. The weak man believes that overthinking is necessary. He convinces himself that he must analyze everything before making a decision, that he must weigh every possible risk, that he must have absolute certainty before he can take action. But what he does not realize is that this is the exact reason he never makes progress. He spends so much time trying to predict the future that he forgets to create it. He waits for the fear to disappear, but it only grows stronger. He looks for perfect clarity, but the more he thinks, the more confused he becomes. The unbreakable man sees things differently. He knows that there is no such thing as a perfect decision. That no matter how much he thinks, he will never eliminate risk completely. That no amount of analysis will ever guarantee success. He does not waste time trying to figure out the right path. He takes action and makes the path right. He does not sit around waiting for certainty. He moves forward and adapts as he goes. He understands that the only way to overcome overthinking is to stop giving it power. Weak men live in their heads. They are trapped in the past, replaying old mistakes, wishing they had done things differently. They are consumed by the future, imagining worst-case scenarios, fearing things that have not even happened. And in doing so, they completely ignore the present, the only time they actually have control over. They hesitate, They second, guess, they procrastinate. And before they know it, years have passed, and they have nothing to show for it. The unbreakable man refuses to let this happen. He does not dwell on the past, because he understands that nothing can change it. He does not obsess over the future, because he knows that worrying about something that has not happened is a waste of time. He focuses on what he can control, and he takes action in the present. He does not allow his mind to be his prison. He makes it his weapon. Overthinking is the enemy of confidence. The more you hesitate, the more unsure you become. The more you question yourself, the more you weaken your ability to trust your own instincts. The more you analyze, the more you convince yourself that you are not ready. This is why so many men never take risks. They spend so much time thinking about everything that could go wrong that they paralyze themselves before they even begin. They allow their fears to make their decisions for them, and in doing so, they ensure that they never grow, never improve, never achieve anything beyond what is comfortable. The unbreakable man does not fall into this trap. He understands that confidence is built through action, not thought. That clarity comes from experience, not endless analysis. That failure is not something to be avoided. It is something to be embraced. He does not let the fear of making mistakes stop him from making moves. He does not let the unknown intimidate him into hesitation. He steps forward even when he is uncertain, knowing that he will figure things out along the way. Most men will never learn this lesson. They will continue to believe that overthinking is necessary. They will continue to wait, to hesitate, to drown themselves in self-doubt. They will continue to spend their days making excuses for why they have not started yet, why they are not ready, why they need more time. And because of this, they will never achieve anything meaningful. They will look back at their lives with regret, realizing too late that their biggest failure was not taking action when they had the chance. The unbreakable man refuses to live with that regret. He knows that the only real mistake is doing nothing, that the only real failure is never trying, that the only real risk is wasting time thinking instead of doing. He moves forward, even when it is uncomfortable. He takes action, even when it is uncertain. He refuses to let overthinking steal his life away from him. If you want to break free from overthinking, you must stop waiting. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. It does not exist. Stop waiting for certainty. You will never have it. Stop waiting for fear to disappear. It never will. The only way to escape the trap of overthinking is to take action despite the doubt, despite the hesitation, despite the fear. Every time you hesitate, you are reinforcing the habit of inaction. Every time you overthink, you are strengthening your doubts. Every time you delay, you are choosing fear over progress. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to start. Overthinking is destroying your life. It is time to stop thinking and start moving. Overthinking is the silent killer of dreams. It is the invisible force that holds you back, convincing you that you are making progress when in reality you are doing nothing. It disguises itself as intelligence, as careful planning, as preparation, but in truth, it is nothing more than fear. The fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of uncertainty. It is the voice in your head that tells you to wait, to hesitate, to reconsider. It is the reason you have not started, the reason you have not taken action, the reason you are still standing in the same place, while others move forward. The weak man does not see this. He believes that the more he thinks, the smarter he becomes. He convinces himself that by analyzing every possibility, he is avoiding mistakes. But in reality, he is making the biggest mistake of all: doing nothing. He spends his days stuck inside his own head, paralyzed by endless questions, consumed by self-doubt, trapped in a cycle of hesitation that never ends. And while he is lost in thought, life continues without him. The unbreakable man understands this trap. He knows that overthinking is a prison, that the mind can be both a weapon and a weakness. He does not let his thoughts control him. He controls his thoughts. He does not waste time debating whether or not he is ready. He takes action and figures things out along the way. He does not fear failure. He embraces it as part of the process. He understands that clarity comes from action, not thought. That confidence is built through experience, not hesitation. Most men will never break free from the cycle of overthinking. They will continue to analyze, to hesitate, to convince themselves that they need more time. They will tell themselves that they will start one day. But one day always turns into never. They will spend years waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect opportunity, and in the end, they will have nothing to show for it. Because while they were thinking, someone else was doing. While they were waiting, someone else was moving. While they were hesitating, someone else was winning. The weak man lets his doubts dictate his decisions. He tells himself that he is not ready, that he needs more information, that he must eliminate all risks before taking action. He believes that by delaying, he is making a smarter choice. But what he does not realize, that every second spent overthinking is a second wasted. Every minute he spends doubting himself is a minute he could have spent learning, growing, improving. Every hour he spends hesitating is an hour he will never get back. The unbreakable man refuses to live this way. He understands that action is the only cure for overthinking, that the only way to silence doubt is to move forward despite it, that the only way to defeat fear is to face it. He does not let hesitation steal his future. He does not let uncertainty stop him from taking the first step. He moves, he acts, he builds. And because of this, he wins. Overthinking destroys confidence. It makes you question yourself, your abilities, your decisions. The more you analyze, the more reasons you find to hesitate. The more you hesitate, the more you convince yourself that you are not ready. The more you wait, the more difficult it becomes to start. This is why so many men stay stuck in the same place, never making progress, never taking risks, never realizing their full potential. They are not being held back by circumstances, by lack of opportunity, by external forces. They are being held back by their own minds. The unbreakable man does not wait for confidence. He builds it through action. He does not wait for certainty. He moves forward without it. He does not allow overthinking to rob him of his time, his potential, his future. He makes decisions quickly, knowing that no decision is perfect. He takes risks, knowing that failure is part of the process. He embraces discomfort, knowing that growth only happens outside of the comfort zone. Weak men allow their thoughts to control them. They live in the past, replaying old mistakes, obsessing over things they cannot change. They fear the future, imagining worst-case scenarios, convincing themselves that everything will go wrong. Oh, they spend so much time trapped in these thoughts that they forget to live in the present, the only moment that actually matters. The unbreakable man focuses on the now. He does not dwell on the past because he knows he cannot change it. He does not fear the future because he knows he cannot predict it. He controls what he can control, his actions in the present. He understands that success is not achieved through thinking alone, but through doing. Overthinking is an addiction. And like any addiction, the more you indulge in it, the harder it becomes to break free. Every time you hesitate, you are reinforcing the habit of inaction. Every time you analyze instead of act, you are training yourself to be passive. Every time you let doubt stop you from taking the first step, you are making it easier to hesitate again in the future. The only way to escape is to act, to move forward before you feel ready, to make a decision without debating it for hours, to trust yourself even when uncertainty is present. Because the truth is, you will never have all the answers. You will never eliminate all risk. You will never feel completely prepared. And if you wait for those things, you will wait forever. The weak man waits for motivation before taking action. He tells himself that he will start when he feels inspired, when he is in the right mindset, when the conditions are perfect. But motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. It cannot be depended on, and waiting for it is nothing more than an excuse to delay. The unbreakable man takes action regardless of how he feels. He understands that motivation follows action, not the other way around. That once he starts moving, the energy will come. That once he takes the first step, momentum will carry him forward. He does not let emotions dictate his actions. He moves first, and the feelings catch up later. Most men will never break free from overthinking. They will continue to analyze, to hesitate, to wait. They will spend their entire lives thinking about what they could have done, should have done, would have done. They will reach the end of their lives with nothing but regret, realizing, too late, that their biggest mistake was never taking action. The unbreakable man refuses to live this way. He understands that time is the most valuable resource he has, and he refuses to waste it inside his own head. He makes decisions, takes risks, embraces uncertainty. He understands that success is not about knowing everything before you start. It is about starting before you know everything. That confidence is not something you wait for. It is something you earn through action. That fear does not disappear over time. It only disappears when you face it. Every second you spend overthinking is a second you will never get back. Every opportunity you let slip away because of hesitation is an opportunity you will never have again. Every dream you postpone because of doubt is a dream that may never come to life. The choice is yours. You can continue waiting, hesitating, questioning yourself, drowning in analysis until the years pass you by, and you are left wondering what could have been. Or you can take action now. You can decide that you will no longer be a prisoner of your own thoughts. You can choose to silence the doubt, to ignore the fear, to move forward without hesitation. Because the only way to escape overthinking is to act. The only way to stop the cycle is to break it. The only way to win is to move forward when everyone else is standing still. Overthinking is destroying your life. It is time to stop thinking and start moving.